G'day viewers, it's Michael here again and welcome back to Single Racer. And in today's video I want to explore the out-of-the-box idea that maybe, just like me in Automobilista 2, when you play your favourite sim racing sim of choice, do you play it in one or two ways only? And that's because it's been brought to my attention by this simple yet, for me, mind-blowing comment by, and I hope I get your name right, but I would pronounce it as Gertan, but Australians often, or myself, butcher international names, so apologies if I get that wrong. But he reminded me that just like Project Cars 2, which the Automobilista 2 engine is based on, that you can have multi-car classes in Automobilista 2. Now what he was talking about was in relation to a video that I talked about why I felt not many people were online, and he was specifically talking about the fact that maybe with the mixed classes as part of the race you could also have it online. But it made me realise, and this is the whole point of the video, is that I've only been driving Automobilista 2 in two specific ways if we just put the online thing to one side. And suddenly the idea came to me that I could do almost, or drive cars almost in a way like Assetto Corsa, and so that's what I want to explore today. So come over with me to the menu and hear me out as far as the ideas that this simple comment gave me. Okay folks, so here we are in the AMS2 menu, and I realised that when I play Automobilista 2, I only generally play it two ways. The first way being that I love the time trials, which I like in Assetto Corsa as well on RSR, and my goal is always to beat a channel called MrX24, but given how slow he drives, that's pretty easy. I'm only kidding, of course, but I had great pleasure in beating him in a non-setup car while he was running a setup, so I was very happy about that. And the second obvious kind of thing is to pick a class or a car and race it as a proper race. But that's where this simple comment really blew my mind personally, because it was the only way that I had ever considered driving Automobilista 2. Now I'm a big fan, or at least to me, Assetto Corsa, because of the modding, is still king of the sims to me. But what was interesting when I read this comment was the fact that when I watch AC videos, I tend to look for two specific types of videos, which I never considered here. So the first one is, and to be honest, they're both done by my favourite channel that does these types of videos in Assetto Corsa, is Unknown Sissineg. And what he usually does is either a duel with two cars on their own fighting out for position, or a group of, and this is the key point here, specifically unrelated cars, or in other words, cars that aren't part of a class that you think of normally in, say, Project Cars 2. So a weird mixture of cars. And to be honest, I'd never even ever considered this in Automobilista 2. And so my simple point and the reason for this video is there is the possibility that if I hadn't thought about it, maybe you hadn't thought about it either, even if you knew about the different classes. But have you ever considered racing two cars together? That normally should never go together. So I'm going to feature two races in the video, a duel, and then 5 cars that you wouldn't consider normally together. So the obvious one would be like, say, the Automobilista 2 truck against a go-kart or something crazy like that, a Formula 1 car against a tin top, things like that. So let's explore now how you could do that if you sound interested in that idea. So the first thing I did was do the duel, and if you've never considered this, it's a great way, like say for instance, if you really want to practice your skill, but because people often talk about, you know, the AI crashing in front of you, which ruins your lap, or say like crashing into you from behind, anything like this. And so this is a great way to, instead of racing against the ghost car, which is what I like, actually getting another opposition car, or specifically the same car, and racing against one individual opponent, so setting it to one, and then dialing in not only the skill level for the skill you're at, but the skill level for the specific type of track you're racing on. Like you know, if you've got a flowing, open, cornered track, and you've got a tight thing like say Monaco, you know, the Azure track, the AI might handle completely differently on one track to the other based on how they're programmed for that track. So what you could specifically do, and what I did here, now I often talk about the fact that I'm not an alien, so I find at 100 the opposition are still quite strong to me. So in this case where I've selected the same car, I've set the opposition to 93, and then what would happen is I'd be sitting behind the opposition car. I couldn't, the opposition skill level is high enough, or you dial it in high enough where you can't quite catch it, yet at the same time it's not pulling away. And there's your perfect thing for practicing, you know, moving around behind the car left and right, trying to pass it, but without the whole thing of the complete 19 field AI mucking your race up, where you can race still more openly, specifically. So what you can do is you can do the same class where Automobilista 2 has say 5 cars in that class as an example, or you could pick the identical car where you pick one of the cars in that class and specifically race against that car, which is what I've done here. Now, I think that's great fun on its own, but probably the main reason for this video was that it had never occurred to me that you could set up bizarre combos where you're almost treating it like Assetto Corsa. Now, there are two main negatives to this, and you know, I'll cover those off, but in effect, the thing that makes, or in my impression, that puts Assetto Corsa above all other sims is not only do I think it's a fantastic handling and force feedback and the physics are great in it, but it's that combo of the mods where you can put two totally separate mods that shouldn't go together and race them together. But I realized that with the limitation that you can only pick 4 cars at the moment, given that one of the spots will automatically be the car class that you're in. So in other words, as you pick your car that you want to race against these other 3, you'll automatically, or it forces you to have one of them as that car or the class of car in that group. So what you can do is you select the multi-class and then click on, and this is where, so I could pick the truck, done, right, so the truck gets included, click on it again, and you know, pick say like the little motorbike arc there, click done, and that will be added to the list. And if you muck it up, all you do is you just clear all and then go done, and you can start again. And you can add individual cars to race against that have no logical sense being together, and that's what I found so interesting, that I never thought of racing it exactly like Assetto Corsa, in the limitations of that you can really only have the 4 types of car, given one of them's locked by the automatic class that you select. So that one's automatically full when we go confirm by whatever you personally select to drive. But finally, to wrap up, there's also 2 other things that I've discovered since I recorded. So what I did is I've recorded the footage of both the duel and this 5-car race before I'm doing this vocal, and I've discovered 2 other things since then, and I want to make sure I cover them off. So if we come back to here, let's just pretend now, or one of the negatives is that because of Automobilista 2's engine, I believe, that's the restricting thing as far as I know, because you can do this also in Project Cars 2. So there's nothing stopping you doing this exact same thing in Project Cars 2, and I've actually done videos along those lines, but I completely forgot or didn't know or didn't think you could do it in Automobilista 2 as well. But so, for instance, if we click on the multi-class here, on the boxes there, we'll put this car in, we go done, right? Let's pick, say like a Formula car, we go done, and we pick, you know, one of the P4s as an example, and we go done, and there's the cars. And then what you would do is you would select the opposition to 4, but you will have 5 cars, of course, because your car as the driver will be included with these 4 opposition. Remembering that the one class, unfortunately, and that's the negative, is taken up by the class you've picked to drive. So whatever you've picked to drive here, so let me show you example. If I change that to a Caterham, right, and now go position, it'll be changed, so you'll have you as the Caterham and 1 extra Caterham. That's one slight negative, and the other slight negative is that you can only have the 4 cars, making a total of 5 cars altogether that you race against the 4 that you've chosen. But the other bigger negative on that thing is it does tend to show up the slightly still lower choice of cars to race against. You know, when you think of like the truck against the go-kart, there's not too many at the moment weird combinations than you create just by the limited range of cars that feature within Automobilista 2. But what I'm excited about is if we go by the premise that both the Nürburgring or the Nordschleife possibly and Spa are going to be added by the end of the year, hopefully, as rumoured. But as more and more car classes get added either by rumours that some of the Automobilista 1 cars might be added, like the super trucks, you know, that fly up those ramps and land on these bouncing big massive wheels, or cars from maybe even Project Cars 2. You know, Reza have been a bit cagey about what's coming new. You know, they're holding back the excitement to try and generate more excitement later on, but the possibilities are endless the bigger this sim becomes in the future. And just a reminder on that fact that if you know, you were a bit negative, one of the things I'd say is Assetto Corsa came out in 2014, but when did Soul, Shaders Patch and Content Manager come out? I think Content Manager, at a guess, would be out for maybe the last 2 years, you know, like as in massive coverage that most people use Content Manager. So you could argue that for 3 years, where was Assetto Corsa going? And look at where it's developed to. So I'm so excited to see in the same 5-year period where, especially given Reza doesn't give up on us as sim racers, you know, they're virtually every month they're doing updates and improvements and patches and fixes and, you know, force feedback improvements, AI improvements. So it's very, very exciting to see where they take the sim as far as the choices of car that you can match together using this principle. And the final thing, just before we go to the races, is that it was made aware by me through Alex's friend Tuna. So I'm talking about the channel The Extra Mile, who has the Sunday Sub Showdowns in Automobilista 2 now every Sunday, and go to his channel if you want to find out about that. But it's been rumoured that he's going to have, so beforehand it was always racing the one car, but it's going to be rumoured that he's going to race the trucks with the Caterhams. So now that's just a rumour, I don't want to say that as gospel, but if that happens, then it proves that you can also select up a server and have not only multi-car classes but weird classes together. You know, could you imagine racing the trucks and the go-karts together in an online race? So, you know, just that thought that, hang on, I can treat Automobilista 2 like Assetto Corsa suddenly became very, very exciting for me personally. I'm just hoping that you might consider that option as well, especially if you're a creator making Automobilista 2 videos and you're seeing, you know, too many of the one type of car. You know, in my case it'd be the Super V8s racing on too many tracks together, and you start to get a little tired of it, seeing the same car all the time. So now let's look at these two options, being the dual and 5 cars that are totally unrelated to each other, and let's go racing. So this is Michael signing out for Single Racer. I'll catch you next time. I hope that was helpful. See you later, and let's go multi-class racing.